So it's great. There we go. So now we're also on Mr. Sci-Fi. So that's up and running. So here we are. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the table and the Mr. Sci-Fi simulcast of the week.
Hello,
As we were just mentioning, Elaine just had shoulder replacement surgery yesterday. I spent the night in the hospital with her, and which was a very good thing because that way no psycho killers could get to her. And if you've ever seen a movie about a hospital, we all know how that goes. And but it was a terrific hospital, terrific service, and now she's back home and
St. John's
and living the good life. Yeah. So
yeah, just amazing.
So there you go. So does anyone have to leave early tonight? I see some friendly faces. No? Okay, well, Adam, why don't we start with... Oh, you do. Wait, Kirsten. So why don't we start with you, Kirsten? Go for it. Introduce yourself.
I'm a newbie, so
yes.
What are the rules and regulations of the introduction?
Yes.
I just got her signed up.
Essentially, you just signed power of attorney, and then we're good. So no, it's... basically, this is the table. Elaine and I have been running it for 29 years. It's writers, directors, actors, producers, thousands of members around the world. Once you come to the in-person meeting, which this qualifies as, you can get signed up on the email where you can reach out to all several thousand. There's no fees, no dues, nothing but a supportive community, and so that's it.
Basically,
there you go.
This is me.
Yeah.
This is my objective. And some people say, who are regulars, they'll say, well, I just come to support the table. They don't need anything. But usually they say, does anybody have an introduction to this, or does anyone know how to handle a manager, or does anybody have any suggestions artistically for this or that? And so, or does anybody know a good DP? So you basically say, here's my objective. And you ask for help, and you say, and if anybody needs an art director, I know a really great one. So it's just the give and take of an artistic community with no charges.
Right.
No charges, unless you're, of course, doing a project where you have money and you're paying everybody.
Right.
But not for the table itself. I mean, if we do a shoot, we're paying wages. But just in terms of exchange of information or support.
Yeah.
No charges.
Yeah. So introduce yourself and say what you're up to and what you need.
Okay. Well, my name is Kirsten Jacobson. I live in Burbank, California.
Great.
And the reason I'm here, Howard, is I was introduced by a mutual acquaintance, Carla Cherry, excuse me. And I'm here because I want to offer my services. I do financial services.
Oh, wow, okay.
And there's no charge
for
the services and the education that we provide. And one of the reasons why it's a passion to help people in the entertainment industry is because my husband's a composer.
Oh, great.
And nobody was helping us with our finances. And that's a slippery slope right there because as you know, you get a chunk of money, and then 100 years later you get another chunk of money for the project.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And so what I want to do is bring that to the forefront of people that are 1099, probably everyone here. And help them realize that you do need to save for that work optional lifestyle. You do need to know vehicles to put your money where it's tax exempt. You do need to, if you're having debt issues, something you work on is saving a debt at the same time, and not get stuck in the weeds of things like we were.
Wow,
essentially.
Great.
So that's why I'm here, because it's a soft spot to my heart.
Yes, because
and plus our friends are in the entertainment industry. And
great. And this is so much better than suddenly having Interpol agents knock down your door and hustle you off to a black site, So yeah, exactly.
So
take you to the Ukraine.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. But so in that regard, Kirsten, David Bartlett, who's the guy in the brown T-shirt, he can sign you up for the table email, and then you can actually send out what you just said to the whole group. And I'm sure a lot of people will want to avail themselves of what you do.
There's the chat.
Yes.
Attached to this.
Yes. And
so, I think a lot of people would really appreciate that, because artists do tend to be a little foolish with their money.
Yes, I went to what is it, the Academy for Songwriting and Lyricists.
Yes.
My husband recently.
Yes.
And the guy, one of the gentlemen at our table, he's like, this whole room probably needs your help. I was like,
yes.
you know.
Was it the National Academy of Songwriters?
I think it was held up at the museum over off of Sepulveda. I can't remember. But
I used to do all their interviews.
A month or two ago.
Wow.
Oh, you did?
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Wow.
Cool.
But I think if you set up a podcast, that would be great, you know, to answer questions.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or something.
Which would be really, really nice because, you know,
or is this just a Zoom thing?
Just a Zoom thing.
Yeah.
Just a Zoom thing so that people could ask, you know, various questions and one person could trigger another.
Yep.
Say, oh, I never thought of spending every penny I made in making more art. I never thought that would be a problem. I think several people would chime in and say, by golly, that's my problem.
Yeah.
Pay yourself first.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
And that's, you know, if I left my husband to his own recognizances, he would.
Yeah.
You know.
I know. It's like the kid who's supposed to go, you know, pay the utility bills and comes back having bought candy. So exactly.
Right. And
or 3 magic beans.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
With his, he loves to collect antique, you know, Moog, you know,
synthesizers. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
So,
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that would be it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And again, as someone speaking who collects spacesuits, you know, it's you know, I certainly understand what you're talking about. So good. Well, welcome. 3 cheers for you. Yay!
So much,
And also, just to let you know, your husband is always welcome to take part in the table as well. You know, any, you know, we're happy to be of service.
We would not mock him for his ways.
No, we would not mock him. No, we would not ask him about his Moog synthesizer collection at all.
Right.
No.
He actually might show you.
Yes, yes, yes.
I might ask him about the Moog
Yeah,
synthesizer.
no, it's very cool.
Yes.
Yes, well,
He will show you the same exact keyboard that Vangelis
That's
used.
great. Wow.
And this
Oh my
Very
and that,
cool.
you know.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Well, thanks and welcome. And so and what we do is we do someone's turn, and then we do a Mr. Sci-Fi question, which is my YouTube channel. We ask people to mute their mics when it's not their turn. And but welcome, Kirsten. It's good to see you. So
Yes.
Adam
I
is
have to pop off of here.
great.
I
Sure.
didn't realize I had another meeting at 6 o'clock. So
Sure.
I'm
Okay.
gonna pop off at like 5:55.
That's fine.
Okay.
Dave,
Absolutely.
Can she get a hold of you so that you can get her on the email list?
Dave, you just want me to private message you?
I'll put it in the chat too. No, you need to email me. My email is davefilms, DAVEFILMS @hotmail.com.
Great.
And that's for the all the table people and all the Mr. Sci-Fi's too.
Great.
And I'll give you the instructions, but the simplicity of it is you need an email name that has your first and last name in it, full, and not Yahoo.
Yep. Great.
You do that and send that to me, I'll hook you up.
Okay, cool.
But
Great.
we needed the first and last name because for security problems, if anyone was inappropriate, you know.
Yeah, no, it all worked out. So yeah, but yay, 3 cheers. Good. So great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
Adam is
Thank you so much.
you
Well,
bet,
thank
of course.
you.
Of
Welcome.
course. So great. So Adam, is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, we've got one from Jerry Lahane.
Hi, Jerry.
Says, did your weekend shoot go well?
Very
Oh,
well, yes.
yeah.
We shot on Sunday. So far we've had 3 shooting days to you know, get the production team up and running. We've shot 20 pages in 3 days, which is good. It was done for a very economically reasonable amount. And this Sunday we shot with aliens and spaceships and all sorts of stuff. It was
Yes,
great.
Thanks to Bonnie in the lower right-hand
Yeah,
section of
Bonnie
your
brought
screen.
those heads and will
Bonnie
no doubt take them back.
Safely brought our aliens
Yes.
from what town?
From Chatsworth.
From Chatsworth.
Yeah.
She went and brought our aliens safely from Chatsworth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a bunch. It was
people would look at my car and say, "What do you have there?"
yes, really. You should have said illegal aliens. But
Could you ride in the carpool lane?
Boy, I should have done that.
it would have been worth the ticket just to be able to do it. So yeah, but but it was a full body of one alien and a number of masks, and also some, like, one head was made of resin. It was a wide variety of things. It was really cool.
And we shot them out really fast.
And none had ever been screen used, so they're unique to Space Command at this point. So that's really cool.
Yeah. So we have our creatures who are supposed to, at first they appear jarring and scary, and as is true in most of Space Command, we then find out that no, they're simply being victimized. So, yeah.
Great, cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it. Was Ian there? Did he got his mask and everything?
Oh yes.
Yeah. It was great. There, one of our fans pledged,
Backers,
to be an alien and then take the mask home, and
he did. Oh, he did. He was so nice. His wife is a DA.
Yes.
And he was like really nice because we had to use him. First, we had him as we padded him out so his body would seem different, and so we had him as a creature, and then we had him as a creature replacing another creature. So he was extremely.
It was fun.
It was fun.
It was really fun.
Really
if you want to see some of the, if you want to see,
he was also invited to the table, so I thought he might be here today, but maybe next week.
Yeah, but he wears
watching on Mr. Sci-Fi.
Yeah, but he wears masks, so he could be any one of us, Yeah. So, but the thing of it,
a lot of screen time.
Yeah, it was great. But and anyone who wants to check out our shoot, I've been posting on Mr. Sci-Fi and also on my Facebook page and the Space Command page and on Twitter. So lots of places to see what we've been up to. Yeah. So thanks a lot.
Yeah.
So Dave, you're next on my screen if you want to tell them how wonderful you are.
Yeah, just how wonderful I am. So good to see Howard Benjamin, a smiling face from our live table meetings. I don't know if you haven't stopped by any of these, have you?
No. One.
Okay.
But we were breached at that one point.
Yeah.
So yes, we had a good day of shooting on Sunday on Space Command. I was there as the DIT, archiving the footage.
Great.
And kind of sort of stand-in visual effects, lending an eye to it. Not my expertise, but since a lot of this stuff will drop on my lap, they figured, let's see what Dave has to say about
it.
Well, it was because we were shooting in pieces and bits and bits and pieces. We had no idea if it could cut together. So we kept constantly saying, "Hey, Dave, will this cut together?" And he'd say yes or no.
Right.
Or do this.
Well, also, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So he was really, he's underestimating what he did. We had him there, so we have these thousands of pieces that will actually end up being cut together without it being a nightmare.
And anyway, Dave, as you know, our motto is we don't know what we're doing, so let's go.
So my motto is, if I knew what I was doing, would I be doing it here?
Yes. Yes. So go ahead, please.
Anyway, so we've been so I sent Marc and Elaine the dailies from that shoot. And we've been working on still trying to finish episode 102, so that we can combine it with 101 to have a feature-length episode. And boy, we're getting close.
Yes.
I've sent a new cut to David Bartlett, who's working on the color correction and also doing some of the sound design. It's over in the hands of David Rakeland, who's composing the music.
Cool.
And let's see, I sent some revised reels today to Dean Hovey, our sound designer, and so everybody's working in sync and moving forward. I had a little challenge from David Bartlett today. There was one shot that he was trying to color correct that was giving him trouble. So he said, "Can you send me the originals?" And I had to dig back into files.
Yes.
And knowing these hard drives as well as I do, I was able to go down that rabbit hole one more time and find the right tunnels, and located a file that has long been
dormant
into history, and was able to send David the parts of it. But
great.
That's how you spend 2 hours in an afternoon.
Cool.
It was kind of interesting going through all those old files and seeing stuff that I had forgotten.
Yeah, no, that's terrific. And Dave is really wonderful to work with, and it's a joy, and we can't wait to edit what we've been shooting, get a cut of it, and and we have a lot more ahead of us, God knows.
Yes,
And
if you want to know the face of long suffering.
yes. Well,
anyway, so that's about the size of it. If anyone is new here and you're of a mind, here's my picture book, The Man with the List, which is a picture book for grown-ups who can't believe in the unbelievable. So if you're an atheist or an agnostic or a doubter, take a look. If you go to YouTube and punch in Man List Picture, the animated version will come up, and have a good time. So
yes.
Thanks very much, and good to see you, everybody. Good to see you, Howard, and we will do this again.
Yay. Thank you, Dave. Excellent. And Michelle DaCosta, who's our development exec in London, just sent us a little text message, which is very nice, very sweet of her. I don't know, I haven't read it yet, but it just came in. So so great. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, we have a question from Bob Rich.
Oh, hi, Bob.
Always has such fine questions.
Yeah.
Who are some directors in film and television that you consider to be true originals with a body of work that is authentically groundbreaking?
Well, Elaine Zickery. So the Ridley Scott, obviously. Denis Villeneuve, though he is hit and miss, in my opinion. Guillermo del Toro, of course, is one of a kind. There's a lot of them, and certainly from the golden age, Orson Welles, Hitchcock, on and on, there's tons. Who would you say?
Well, even Steven Spielberg, when he started
out. Spielberg's unique.
Yeah.
What? Tim Burton.
Yes.
Tim Burton.
Yeah. Fellini, Ingmar Bergman. Kubrick, of course, is a giant. Incredible. And there's a great book that just came out on the making of 2001. Now that a lot of the people are dead, they can write about what actually happened, and it's amazing, really amazing.
Well, even
Akira Kurosawa, yeah, true. There's a bunch. There's a bunch.
Yeah,
so
some of the really strong.
Well, we just watched a great documentary on Charlie Chaplin on Showtime. I highly recommend it. It really tracks his very, very destitute childhood and how it influenced his work and his life. Really a great documentary. So I'll get you some hot tea, sweetie.
Thanks, son.
A new bag. Keep talking.
Okay, keep talking.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
I think it's Howard's turn.
It's Howard's turn. Okay. Hey, Howard. Good to see you again.
Good seeing you too. Well, nothing new on my end. I've just been doing tons and tons of interviews. The Television Critics Association, which my wife and I are a member of, or now Zoom instead of in person. And they started this winter TCA on January the 6th, and it concluded yesterday.
Oh my God.
So it's usually 2.5 weeks, but now it was close to a month and a half.
Wow.
So, but I mean, just an amazing group of people that I got to interview. Just amazing people. Everyone from Uma Thurman and Gillian Anderson to Sheryl Crow and Cypress Hill and Lionel Richie and I just, probably a couple of hundred people. So it was very fruitful and got some really great stuff. And for those people who don't know, and I only see one unfamiliar face, and that's Orion Sai. I'm a sound guy. Besides doing tons of interviews, I have a company called The Interview Factory, which you can see in the background. And we've been going since the 80s. But we do music, TV, and film people, some sports people, some politicians, but not many. There's something like, I don't know, tens of thousands of interviews in our archives. But I also do sound. I have a full complement of sound gear. Did sound on Elaine's projects
a lot of them,
in the past, and Marc and Elaine's Space Command. But just tons of stuff. And available for voiceover and whatever else you need.
Great.
So that's me in a nutshell.
Yay! 3 cheers.
And we're still trying to get back to Patty's.
Yes, we
We're
are.
waiting for the.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, and we're really close at this point in time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's masks off midnight tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Indoors in
Wow.
LA County.
Wow, that's amazing.
So, yeah. So we'll see if the numbers really come down the way it looks like they're coming down.
That would be great.
We can probably start doing this by April.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah.
That sounds great. It'll be lovely to see everyone again in there.
Well, there's usually like between 50 and 70 people in person.
Yes. Yes.
So this is a smattering of people.
Yes. 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 Exactly.
And
So
we were looking for someone with a lot of tech so that we wouldn't have to drop the people who've gotten used to, being part of the meetings who can't
from
make it.
elsewhere.
Elsewhere.
Sure. Exactly. So, but great. So, Howard, anything you need?
Nothing.
Rest. Oh my God.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
congratulations on it being
House in the country.
Great. Yeah, exactly. Well, 3 cheers. Great to see you. Yay. 3 cheers. Howard Benjamin, ladies and gentlemen. So, so Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Actually, there's a Mr. Hollywood question.
Okay.
For
David
Bartlett.
Yes.
Yay. Okay.
Seems David's got himself a fan.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
In Rodrigo, who asks, when do you realize that it's best to do a documentary rather than a film or a show based on the story?
Oh, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got subjects that are still living and you can get them on film and their stories are really compelling, that's a documentary. If you want to make a fictional film about their life, that's a film, not a documentary. And you kind of have to decide between the two for yourself which way to go, because obviously they're extremely different productions. But you can do both, in fact, if you so desired. I know one person that's done that, which is interesting. But usually the filmmaker makes documentaries, that's what they go towards. They make narrative films, they go towards there, but there's no rule about that. I can't think of a subject matter I've come up with. I would rather make a documentary than a narrative film, except I did make one about a custom knife maker who would make a very strange and interesting narrative film, but he was really the subject of a documentary. We started my part of it right after he passed away, and I worked with his knife maker, Jim Merritt, and filmed him making a knife from scratch all the way to the present of a completely finished museum quality knife. And Robert Lovelace was the knife maker, and we had footage of him from before, so it all made sense to just make a documentary out of that.
Yes.
I don't know if that answers your question quite, but I think you can kind of feel in your gut, it's like, have you got a lot of material that you can put into a documentary? And if you do, I would definitely go that direction for a while and see how it goes. There's lots of docs being made, there's lots of subject matters, and it's really just your call when you get into it.
And David, I can jump in a little on this because I've done both documentaries and a lot of drama. Basically, the interviews you would do to make a documentary on any subject are the interviews you would do to research that subject before writing a fictional or a dramatic adaptation. So make sure that when you record those interviews, you record it like on video as well as audio, because then if you want to put together a documentary, it's not that hard. Additionally, if you really want to study the difference between a documentary and a dramatic film or dramatic TV show, there's a show called Inventing Anna on Netflix, which is based on a true story. And then on Hulu, they're running the documentary about it that 2020 did. And that will really allow you to study the actual people against their fictional counterparts. And the real answer is, a documentary, if it's about a dramatic subject, you just basically follow where it leads you. In fact, you don't ever make a documentary where it's locked in place what you're going to do beforehand. The material you get from your interviews and from your research tells you what the story is, tells you what the form will be. It's a journey.
Whereas with things like In Like Flint, if you have
In Like Flint?
No, in Flint. No, what is it? Flint. The story about the Flint.
You mean Michael Moore's documentary about Flint, Michigan?
No.
What?
The fellow who was
The lead pipe water thing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The one who did the magazine and it was considered obscene.
Larry Flint.
Oh, Larry Flint.
Yeah.
In like Flint is the James Coburn spy movie. You know, it's like
Larry Flint. Like with Larry
different
Flint,
thing.
Flint was a very interesting character, but the team that made that film clearly had a message they wanted to say, a single message they wanted to say about this man's life.
Right. Yes.
And so it was very different from a documentary where they had the one really good thing that he, or powerful thing that he did, and focused
it's structurally very different. Yes. Yeah. So anyway, that's a long answer, but it's should give you some guideline.
Mark touched on a good point there too, which is that if you're going to take the trouble to do audio interviews, set up a camera and film them, and that would be great behind the scenes footage.
Yes.
It also could be enough to build a documentary off of that, and you'll have 2 projects.
Yes. Well, also in that regard, David, one thing I strongly advocate is that people look to how to maximize revenue on anything they do in multiple media. And a great example of this is when I wrote the Twilight Zone Companion back in I started working on it in 1977. I just recorded the interviews on cassette tape just so I would have them to transcribe for the book. Later, when home video became a thing, particularly DVDs and Blu-rays, those audio recordings had an enormous value because they were interviews with all the producers, all the major actors, all the major directors and writers and so forth, including tapes I'd come across of Rod Serling teaching a class. And so that stuff then generated, significant money where I never thought it would. For me, it was just my research tapes, but it became something that, particularly on the Blu-ray set, ended up generating 6 figures. So keep that in mind. And when we went to South Africa on the Lord Peter Hayne project, we videotaped and audio taped. I mean, using cameras, cell phones, all of the people we interviewed. And as a result, when we wanted to publicize our company, Dave Edison was able to put together a really great montage of the people we interviewed because we had the video. And so that's terrific. Yeah, so I agree absolutely with you, David. So let's see. Now, I guess next on Howard. Yeah, sure.
I just did 3 documentary things. One on Sheryl Crow, one on Cypress Hill, and one that was not a documentary, but could have been on the First Ladies. And it was Michelle Obama, Eleanor Roosevelt,
yes,
and Betty Ford.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And those were dramatizations with Uma Thurman, with Gillian Anderson playing
Roosevelt, Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yeah. And Viola Davis playing Michelle Obama.
Wow.
And Michelle Pfeiffer, I believe it was,
playing Betty Ford.
Betty Ford.
Yeah.
But with the Sheryl Crow thing, she was a total participant in the thing. And the people that they gathered to do the ancillary stuff, from Keith Richards, I mean, the people that they got were just amazing. It's a terrific documentary. And the Cypress Hill thing, those guys shot every day of their lives stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So when it came to putting a documentary together,
yes,
they had about 800 hours.
Wow.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was
cool.
What to leave in, what to leave out.
Wow. That's great. That's cool. So I guess
participation with the subject is paramount.
Yeah, exactly. So David, I guess you're next on my screen if you want to take your turn, or if you'd rather wait, that's fine too, whatever.
Sure. I am David Bartlett. I am a filmmaker, a teacher, and a human rights activist, and a producer on Space Command.
Yay!
We are running the corner towards a DVD Blu-ray pressing of this project.
Yep.
It's very exciting. In fact, I'm doing color correction right now.
Yay!
Doing well. We are almost at the halfway mark of that, and I'll probably be done tomorrow. Knock on wood. That's my goal.
Good.
And I'm doing a sound mix.
Cool.
And we're going to have a playback of this whole thing in a few weeks. So that's very cool. We have about myself. I started making films when I was 10. I was shooting in a barn on my parents' property, and now, so many years later, I went back to that same barn because my father passed away fairly recently. My mother's been gone for a while now, and now it's my brother and sister and I. So we have this land, and on it is this barn still. So I shot a little footage there myself going back to this barn, and I thought, well, you know, this property looks like it could be used for a little filming location. So I'm coming up with a concept that I want to go up there and film. And I film something in the same barn all these years later. So it'll be lots of fun. And one thing that's there is an old car that was totaled that my sister owns. And long story short, I made a deal with her today to blow it up.
Oh, goody. That's great.
Have fun.
So we're going to ruin it and paint it with graffiti and explode it on the property. And that'll be probably the last thing we shoot, just in case. And so that's kind of like the full span of my career. But I've worked on all kinds of films, from tiny, low-budget, micro-budget films to giant blockbuster movies. I worked on Total Recall and Speed and Pulp Fiction and Predator 2 and all kinds of big movies like that for a while. And I've got 69 Film Festival Awards. We just got another one for best oh my God, I'm blank. This film I just finished, and I was just at this festival.
Best human being. Best human being.
The first Audience Choice Award that I've gotten, which is cool, and it's for a feature. And then also in this last 6 months or so, we got Emmy nominations.
Wow.
So it's been pretty cool. And you know, things are moving forward as far as my career goes.
Great.
So I was able to teach a little bit. Is Carol still with us here? Yes, Carol's on today. And I was able to, she wanted me to help her coach her through some screenplay things. I read her script and we talked about it. So I was able to dig up some teaching things for that, and that was lots of fun.
Right.
I used to teach screenwriting at the Screenwriting Expo, actually, for about 5 years. And I taught after that in seminars. So I've had a lot of fun dredging that up again. And let's see, that's kind of it for me on my career. So the next, after Space Command is filming. Space Command is doing post. If you're at all interested in working on Space Command, you can contact me.
Yes.
I can lead you in the right direction, steer you in the right direction. We always need, seems like we always need set painters and set carpenters. So if you have any experience doing that, love to hear from you. Otherwise, anything you want to do on Space Command, it's a possibility, because we have these shoots meted out over 2-3 weeks, and then we're turning around to do a much larger shoot shortly. And we'll need people for all that too. And we also need some actors.
Yay.
Cool. Always need for actors. If you're interested at all in the acting part, you can talk to me also. I can steer you towards Marc and Elaine, and they will, take it accordingly. So that is the Space Command part. Cool. Now we've also got the table email. I do that too. So the table email is about 2,000 people that are connected to each other on the table email with a private pass, and no one else can come in, and it's only for that group. And you can network with each other. You can find out information about things. You can throw out feelers for things. You can offer your help for things. Volunteers, paid positions, all sorts of different combinations can happen on the table email. And there's always something, every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, there's like 3 things I could call. It's really very, very useful. So even though we don't have them in a meeting, in the person meetings right now, the table email is still thriving. So if you are not on the table email and want to be, I'm looking at my other screen now. Let me change this so that my eyeline's correct. So there. The table email is available to people that are not on it now. And if you're having troubles, you can let me know about that too. I can hook you up. So I'm going to put in my chat here my email address. And for those who are on Mr. Sci-Fi, for a limited time only, you can be on the table email too. So I can't type on that one, but I can say my email is davefilms, DAVEFILMS @hotmail.com. You have to get an email with your full first and last name. No MogiePie2257. Someone actually has that as an email. That won't work on the table. It has to be your first and last name. It can have numbers and symbols, no problem, and it can't be Yahoo. Yahoo has some kind of weird security glitch thing, and we don't do Yahoo. So with that said, I will put it in the chat here, and those of you here can check it out. You can contact me. I think that I usually try to tell a new story every week, which has been challenging recently.
Yes.
But I think that my story is about I got advice from one person once that stepped me on my path when I was like 21 years old. A friend of mine went to Show West, which is a convention like a big convention like Comic-Con, except it's for the owners of movie theaters. So they all go, and all the studios would come. They would bring stars on their private planes and the whole thing, and they would meet these owners. Like, you know, the Poughkeepsie Theater owner would be there, and he would meet Harrison Ford, or he would meet, you know, Sherry Lansing from Paramount, and it was like a big deal because then they would be compelled to buy the movie when it came out. So a friend of mine went there. She came back with a giant fold-out cardboard thing from Daily Variety that's this big from a movie that didn't even have a title yet, and it was airbrush, beautiful title. Colors, and it said, he's a million miles from home, he's all alone, and then at the end of it, it says, E.T. Extraterrestrial. And it was, Dear David, work hard, never give up, Steven Spielberg.
That's great.
I never met him, but that has stayed with me. I get shivers just now thinking of it, that there's an idea out there that I've hung on to, and you just have to work hard and never give up, you know? You're heading in a direction that's not getting you where you want to go, you might want to look at that. That doesn't mean you do less hard or you give up. You say, okay, well, I'm not getting where I want to be. I'm not having what I want to have. Stop, take a look, ask some advice, go out there, figure it out, go another way, but never give up.
Wow.
Great.
So, there you go.
Okay, yay, 3 cheers. Okay, so is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, we have a question from Gregory Krug.
Okay.
Who
Hi, Greg.
says he recently discovered a British television show from the late 60s entitled The Champions. Is wondering, are you familiar with it?
No.
And if so, what do you think of it?
No, I've never heard of it. So if you want to send me a link, please do. I'd be very interested in checking it out. No, absolutely. I mean, I'm a big fan of The Prisoner and of course Doctor Who and the Avengers, but you know, and I wrote for Jerry Anderson on Space Precinct, so you know, but yeah, so that'd be interesting. Yes, you bet. So
I believe it's available on Acorn.
okay,
Really?
great.
Okay,
Great. Well,
lovely.
thank you, Howard. So Thane, I guess it's your turn. Go for it.
Good evening. I am Thane Allison, SAG-AFTRA character actor, still chipping away. I had 2 more auditions this week, and if I can ever get the technology to cooperate with the actor and the cameraman and the sound man and the editor, all being me, and sometimes I wind up being the second actor. Anybody that says it's self-tape just doesn't understand the process. Last week they wanted a full body shot in horizontal with zooming in. Try that on your cell phone. And then speed from the pockets up, and then go into the character and present the lines. Anybody figures out how to do that by oneself, let me know. And that's probably why I didn't get the role, because I really couldn't figure out how to do that.
You just need really long arms.
Yeah.
Either that or if you send them a smaller resolution video, you can probably get away with zooming in post and then pulling out, or as you need, starting wide and pushing in post.
Yeah, that requires real skills as an editor. I have some. I can chop off the stuff at the beginning and at the end. And
for sure. What editing software are you using?
Adobe Premiere Elements.
I'll look into it. Drop me an email.
Cool.
All right. And I was going to ask Marc Gogashowicz a couple of questions about that, but he's disappeared again.
Yeah. No.
At any rate, keep marching on. I'm signed up for a writing workshop weekend to concentrate on solo shows out in the desert. As Howard says, we need a country home, and my doctor has said you've got to get away for a couple of weekends. You're just driving yourself nuts, and so that's coming up in April. After I get my taxes done, after I do several weekend projects that my manager and agent have got me into, and just keep on here. The one-man show is coming together. Getting ready to do a table read, and make myself available to help out others when the time comes. And I'm really glad to see Howard back in the saddle here. It's been a while. I look forward to his next yard sale, which is always a fun collection of odds and ends that I don't need, but somehow I wind up with some of them.
Because we're on Zoom and not in person, the gift giving from the studios through the roof. Like $100 and $200 things.
Wow.
Just amazing things.
Wow.
Juicers and coffee maker. I mean, just the things they sent were unbelievable. I'm going to have to bail.
Okay.
But it was great seeing all of you.
Bye. Bye, Howard.
I'll try and join again next week.
Great. That's great. Great to see you. So 3 cheers. Yay. And Thane, now that Marc Gushwitz is back, you said you had a couple of questions for him that were urgent. So if you want to.
Yeah, I don't want to take the group time here. So Marc, if I can get your email, we could handle this offline. That would be appreciated. A couple of questions about Adobe Premiere elements.
Okay, I will put my email. I will give you my email address in the private link over here.
Okay, cool.
And then you can get in hold of me.
Okay, great. 3 cheers. Yay. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes. Our next Mr. Sci-Fi question comes to us from Juan Suros.
Hi, Juan.
Who wants to know, are there any nonfiction authors you like that you would like to see try their hand at sci-fi?
That's a hard one. Not off the top of my head. You know, it's like I mean, Carl Sagan wrote Cosmos with his wife helping. And so, I mean, it might be interesting to see if Neil deGrasse Tyson ever does a science fiction novel. That'd be kind of fun to see what he might come up with. But I don't really, I just sort of take it as it comes. I'm not really, wanting people to do this or that. It's just, I just want people to write well, and entertainingly and not run out of steam halfway or 2/3 of the way through. So, but yeah, so that's about it. Elaine, how are you doing?
Doing fine.
Okay, so great. So Bonnie, you're next. Go for it, Bonnie.
Okay, first of all, Elaine, wishing you a very, very speedy full recovery.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And let's see, working on 2 musicals, and now I'm also working on Ben. Or it says Ben and Emil. I'm working on some music for him, with him, and working on some different songs, just a lot of different things. Working on a short film with a filmmaker whom I've done all his films, and he's still, we were postponed from right before COVID. We were going to do another feature. So he's now doing a short film. And by the way, I saw Thane twice this week on Sandra Lord's Let's Do Lunch and on the Friends Circle night. So he's keeping busy there as well.
That's great.
And just doing a lot of, still a lot of Zoom meetings, get around. But a lot of music stuff. Anybody needing anything musical, that's my thing.
Okay.
Great. Okay.
Yay.
Cool. Yay. Great, Bonnie. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes. Our next question is from Mark Lungo.
Hello, Mark.
And he asks, are there any projects you've had to abandon along the way for any reason?
I sort of temporarily will let go of things for a while and then just let them kind of germinate, or like Magic Time is is a show we want to do, or I've wanted to do for 20 years, and plan to do it. I don't know. There've been various, like, I've written 4 pilots about my family for 3 different networks on assignment, and those didn't move forward. They didn't get greenlit, but it's a shame, because it would have been interesting to see had those moved forward. But I don't, I've sort of moved away from autobiographical material in that way. So as you grow older, you change, and your interests change. But nothing. I don't. Nothing really sticks in my craw. Do you have any? Yeah. No, it's just so you just try stuff. You see what works. You see what connects. But now, of course, that we're able to raise money and have our own studio, it makes things a lot better. So let's see. So I guess now also one thing I want to mention is, Orion, are you in LA, or are you in France?
I'm back in California.
Oh, good.
Oh, okay.
Well, why don't you take your turn, and then we'll do Carol Field. So go for it.
Sounds great. Elaine, sweet recovery.
Thank
sweet
you.
recovery.
Merci.
And hello, everybody. Back from France. I spent more time there than in the past 25 years. And I also stopped by Portugal to see how things are over there. And that was lovely.
Uh-huh.
I was taking care of family transitions with my grandmother, my mother, and my sister. Everything is as best as it could be now. And I'm back here in California dealing with the federal case. And I just learned a new term today, that I'm actually the white knight of that case.
Wow.
And there's a federal judge assigned to the case. I'm wondering if it could be a documentary or fiction. I did a 69-page complaint. Got a judge assigned. There's going to be a hearing in March, and it reads kind of like a script. But maybe I'm too close to it. I don't know. So there's that keeps me busy. I'm on hold for an MTV docu-series.
Cool.
They're doing the Vax compliancy with the CBS Viacom. So the project is on hold until I don't know when. So in the meantime, I'm planning on reshooting a 7-hour women's empowerment program. It's 12 models for a client. It's in French. That should be interesting. Probably a 2-camera and very small production. And I'm on hold also for doing some audio and camera work with a documentary with the fires in Colorado. So that's what I got. And I'm looking for union production sound mixing type of project in the US, in Europe, in Australia. I'm dual citizen, French-American. Or B-cam, audio cam, traveling or outside of LA. And that's what I got for now.
Okay. Well, cool.
Yay.
3 cheers. Yay.
It's beautiful in California. It's so nice to see you all.
Yeah, well, it's good to see you too. So welcome back. So is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Let's see. Yes, we have a Scott Baker question.
Great. Hi, Scott.
He wants to know what objections do you have to starting your own streaming channel called the Showrunners Network?
Well, this is an interesting question, and Elaine had been at various times suggesting that too. The problem is one of capitalization, because when you start your own streaming platform, there's many of them that just, like, no one even knows they exist. They're like, it's like back in the old days when you have those, like, public access channels and things like that. And so I can certainly at this point finance you know, a lot of production of our projects right now. And Mr. Sci-Fi, of course, on YouTube allows me to be able to reach millions of people around the world. But the money needed to launch a VOD platform, and particularly to publicize it, is many, many, many millions of dollars. And you're going toe to toe with, you know, the major entertainment conglomerates in the world, you know, with Warner's and Disney and so forth. So it's so you know, it's kind of like, I don't tend to like to go down roads I don't think will prevail, and that one just seems to me, if you know, too dicey. And because YouTube allows me a channel for free that has worldwide reach, and you know, I'm happy to use that for now and just build that audience. But you know, having worked in the network and studio arena and understanding what they bring to the equation, I'm just aware of how all of this stuff works. And so if, in a perfect world, yes, I would have the Showrunners Network, and it would be like a channel that you could get on Roku or whatever. But not right now. That just doesn't seem, unless some gazillionaire, like if Elon Musk called me and said, "Hey, let's start a channel," I'd like, yeah, sure, that sounds great. But at this stage, you know, that's not planned for now. So there you go. Long answer. So let's see who's next on the screen. Carol Field, go for it.
Hi, I came in late. Elaine, may I ask what happened? Did you break an arm or something?
No, she had a shoulder replacement.
Yeah.
What?
Yesterday they took her shoulder, they cut her shoulder off and put a robot one on.
They did.
And so I was at the hospital staying overnight with her, and it's at the hospital where I was born. So they said, "Oh yeah, we recognize you."
Well,
And
it was just
you know,
long-term bum shoulder.
yeah,
Where I started with physical therapy for a long time, and then it went from physical therapy to cortisone shots.
Right.
As it went downhill until they actually said, "Well, nothing's working." Well, over time, everything stopped working, and so they put in a brand new one yesterday.
Oh my God! And you look so great, and you're already running a marathon.
Yeah, she's doing good.
Good. I'm very happy.
Thank you.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
They do replacements in their sleep. So
they also did an oil change and rotated her tires.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
They were great.
Yeah, but it was good. And Angelique had suggested that I stay in the hospital overnight with Elaine. Angelique comes from a family of medical professionals, and it was a very good piece of advice, because again, you can, you know, you can really be there and you know, be an advocate for the person, and it's very
we learned
important.
the value of St. John's.
St. John's is a great hospital in Santa Monica.
In Santa Monica. I mean, they're so nice. Everyone was so nice that when they came in around 2 a.m, he said, "Is there anything I can get for you?" I said, "Well, a hot fudge sundae would be okay."
Joking. You said a banana split. Yeah.
Banana split. I
Yeah.
said banana split would be okay.
Joking. Yes.
Jokingly, and she came back with 2 little things of ice cream.
Yeah, they brought us ice cream in the middle of the night. So that's, you know, and what you should have said, well, where are the bananas? Where's the fudge?
Yeah,
No,
I should have.
that would have been really bad.
Really nice. Really nice.
Where's the fudge? Jason creeps. Give me some.
Yeah,
fudge.
really.
Yeah, well, speedy recovery. That's amazing.
Yeah,
we're all just, you know, we're kind of fallible humans.
Yeah, she's doing
let
great.
Me grace your script with a table read if you'd like. I'm not going to audition some climbing walls, whatever you'd like. I can morph into these days. I want to publicly thank David Bartlett for being so kind and fine-tooth combing this little first draft thing I threw out. And boy, oh boy, it was like taking a course. So I just really want to thank him for being so really great, and I'm just honored to have all you people really in my corner. This is fun. For those of you who don't, I went to American Film Market on Zoom in November, and I interviewed with like 35 people to be Apoco Publications, which is the biggest publication for theatrical stuff in Australia, to be featured performer of the month, and I got it. And and this is the sweet little blurb they did on me. This is the front page cover. I don't know if you can see it, but they did can you see? Yeah. So they did a really sweet piece on me. I have no idea why they chose me. They didn't tell me, but fine. And then they're doing a podcast on me next month. Wow. So and then she wants to talk to me again. This amazing publication. They don't use agents. They cast all from this newspaper.
Wow.
I don't know how. I don't know how they do that. But it's kind of like talk about way outside the dots. So any wins right now are big wins.
Great.
Wow.
Tony wins right now, right?
Great.
And I'm excited to let David's comments simmer and work on the second draft of this super fun thing. And that's all. I wish you well.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yay! 3 cheers. Good, Carol. Great. So, Adam, do we have another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Let's see. I think. Yeah, I think we are all caught up.
Wow. Okay.
Great.
Okay. Is there anything you want to ask, Elaine?
No.
Okay. So, Kira, you're next. Go for it.
All right. How are you? So I'm good. I'm really good. So yeah, this is Akira. So yeah, I'm originally from Tokyo, Japan. So I moved here the end of 2017, almost 4 years now. Yeah. Yeah, I am film. I have some. What I'm doing is now. My top priority absolutely music and composing for film, and especially right now, I'm concentrating horror or suspense kind of stuff. And I bought this one recently. This one, the score book. Jerry.
Cool.
Whoa.
That's right.
Wow.
It's orchestration.
Wow.
Of that trick.
That's great.
And I'm reading these books, and now I'm watching the Star Trek TV show with the Paramount, right? They're distributing in the Paramount.
Yes.
And I'm watching from the first episode, and
wow.
I know the really first time, the really first episode is not William Shatner, right?
Yes, right, yes. Jeffrey Hunter, yes.
Yeah. The Kirk is different. And I was really surprised. But it's really, still, fresh. The story and the picture is still fresh. And right now I'm doing the binge watching.
Great.
It's so fun. Yeah. And I'm studying the history. It's great. It's really great.
Huh.
Yeah. And also I'm teaching, Japanese online, for my living. And
great.
Before I start teaching Japanese right before the quarantine, and right before the quarantine I'm teaching at a couple of students at Starbucks, near the Starbucks. But after that we could not do the in-person lesson. But after that I'm doing the online business, and in these 2 years I establishing my teaching business one by one, and I have now 30 students.
Wow.
Teaching
that's great.
5 or 7 students in a day.
Congrats.
It was thanks for it. Thanks for being I'm myself Japanese. I can live on here. It's really funny story. Yeah. And also I'm a jazz guitarist doing jazz, playing gig a lot, around the LA, sometimes. Yeah, so if you need, and I put my information on the chatting board, my website, and the pop song I released a couple of weeks ago, and you can see on my YouTube stuff, and one documentary, it's a trailer video, I'm working on. It's a short documentary film what I'm working on right now. Yeah, that is so far what I'm doing, and I'm studying a horror movie too, like with this book kind of stuff. Documentary book. It's a horror book with the John Landis.
Sure.
It's edited by John Landis. It's so fun.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, that is all about me. So thank you very much.
Okay, yay! 3 cheers. Now, one thing I should mention is that they have announced the next Monster Palooza, which is the Creature Maker convention, and so it's well worth going to if one can, because you can meet amazing people, and also A-list directors go there to hire people. Mike Hill, who sculpted Doug Jones's costume in The Shape of Water, Guillermo met him at a Monster Palooza. So, so I recommend it. So let's see. So Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, or have we exhausted the interest of those out there?
Oh no, we've got a few more questions.
Great.
I was gonna say Mike Hill does some amazing work. I wasn't aware that he sculpted that Shape of Water suit.
Yeah. And but I've gone to Monsterpalooza for many years, and the top guys always have a new display piece to show what they can do at Monsterpalooza. So he's done things like, you know, Frankenstein. Oh yeah, and Frankenstein, you know, with the little girl that he throws into the lake, and I mean, just amazing stuff. Mike Hill started as a sculptor at Madame Tussauds, and so he really trained at the right place. And
he's done a few life-size versions of the foot-tall or 10-inch tall Aurora monster kits.
Wow, that's great. I'm sure Guillermo probably owns the set, you know, so that's pretty fun. So great. So is there a Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Yes, and I personally prefer Frankenstein in the Twix commercial, where he rips his arm off and gives it to the kid.
That's funny.
Instead of sharing the Twix.
That's
anyway,
funny.
Our next question is a Scott Baker question.
Okay, hi Scott.
And he wants to know, did you enjoy the feature film based on the 1980s Twilight Zone episode Button Button? Why or why not?
I haven't seen it. I know of it, but I just haven't gotten around to it. It got such bad reviews when it came out. I just didn't get around to watching it. I believe that was directed by Richard Kelly, I think, and he did Donnie Darko, and he's a really nice guy. I had lunch with him before the pandemic, and he's, you know, talented guy, but spotty. If that was directed by him, I may be wrong, but yeah. So there you go.
Correct.
I am correct. Good.
You are correct.
Good. But Richard Kelly's been trying to get a Rod Serling project off the ground. I mean, a biopic of Rod. But and I told him who I thought should play Rod Serling, which is Sam Rockwell. I thought Sam Rockwell would be terrific. But yeah. But you know, it's a lot of projects never get made, and that's just the way it goes. So I mean, the one that would have also been very interesting is Guillermo years ago had wanted to do Frankenstein with Doug Jones as the monster, and that might have been really great. But again, Doug's now past the age where he could play that role, and yeah, I mean, Doug says that himself, and you know, but that's one that got away. So let's see. So I guess Mark Gushwitz, you're next.
All right, so sometimes things seem a little too coincidental to me because I literally clicked on today, and the very first sentence that David Bartlett said went into a story that was all about where I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take that story to heart. I think you've told me the story before, but it's just weird that you didn't know where my head is at. Literally, the first sentence out of your mouth was the beginning of the story. So let's hope coincidences mean something.
I don't know about the metaphysical, but I didn't tell any story until the very end. I'm like, you know, I should pop a story in, and I just thought it's short, and we'll just throw it in at the last second, right when you logged on.
Yeah, great.
There you are.
So anyway, yeah, my life has been, I've been trying to restructure my life and trying to figure it out and get those bad thoughts out of my head that say, maybe you move on, because I don't want to move on. I want to continue, and I want to make sure all my stuff happens. It's hard sometimes.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway, it's been a tough week. Working with a client that I had to sit down with. We've had, I don't know how to deal with people like this, but we've had 2 months to complete a project, which is, the deadline is in a week from tomorrow. And literally everything's being piled on me right now. And we've had 2 months. And so I had to call them up and say, what do you expect me to work till 4 in the morning? Is this something that that's going to be continuous, that even though you have 2 months to do a project, I should just expect to work, 80 hours for the last, a week for the last 2 weeks? And the attitude, not from him, but from the person who hired him, seems to be, well, if you're not willing to do it, I can find someone who can.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, why do people treat people like that in this business? I mean, there's plenty of time to do it. Why are you in the mindset of, oh, but they'll take care of it, don't worry about it. We don't need to rush it. I don't get it. I mean, I've worked on some projects that go a little bit slower than I expect. Space Command is one of them. It's going slow, but you're not forcing a deadline or anything. I mean, you're letting me kind of just take my time with it. There's no pressure.
Mm-hmm.
This person hires me, and it's like just boom. And if you can't do it, I'll just get someone else. oh man, why would you treat people like that?
Well, a lot of people have extremely. See, the problem is that there's so much arrogance and so much bad behavior in this industry that a lot of people think that's how you're supposed to act. And you know, they don't have good teachers or good mentors, you know, and that's a big part of it. And the other part of it is a lot of people don't know what they're doing. And so as a result, they are just like, you know, bulls in a china shop all the time. And you know, so that's a whole another part of it. And the problem is that, of course, when you're hired by them, you can't be direct and say, hey, you know, this isn't the way to do things, because as you say, you risk being fired. And you know, so it's difficult. It's very, very difficult. You know, that's why so many of us build teams of people we like to work with over and over and again, because we find the people who are sort of on our wavelength, and you know, if we're lucky, we can make a go of it without having to work with the other kind. But that's, you know, I'm
And
sorry you're having to go
sometimes-
through that.
Sometimes when they say, well, hire somebody else, you should say, go with God.
Yeah, but again, you have to be able to afford that financially. You know, you know.
And in the like before COVID, I had a client, and I talked about that person here, where I did do that. I finished a project with them. I said, you ever do that again, you just take your drives. And they've been really great with me ever since.
Good.
But
Good.
at that point, I could afford to do that. But now we're in the world of COVID, where things still haven't come back to full force. So you can't really take whatever jobs you can get.
Well, and I think given that, Mark, I think probably the safest time to do something like that, as you said, is when you finish the gig, gotten the money, then you can say, listen, I don't know if you'd be open to a little supportive criticism, you know, constructive criticism, but and then if they say, well, go ahead, then you can try it, because again, some people are just assholes, but some people just don't know what's the appropriate way to work with people, you know. And you know,
the strange thing is I don't know if they're being assholes as well. I think the woman might. I hope she's not watching this, but of course she's not a member of the table, so
right.
She's probably not.
No.
But the guy almost that when I go to the person who hired me, now he was hired by someone else.
Yes.
I feel like, you know, they're almost scared to. Oh, but if I go to the client and say, hey, we sent them your thing to look at and give us notes, we need it now rather than in 2 weeks, if they're scared they're going to lose that client.
Right.
When in reality, when I go to clients about stuff like that, a lot of times it almost feels like they kind of appreciate it, because, you know, you're trying to get their work done. Sometimes they lose track of things. I know I always tell people, if you haven't heard from me in 2 weeks, you know, just reach out to me, because I might have gotten really busy, and it's not that I'm not doing it. I just kind of lost track of things.
Yes.
And so I don't know. I just this last week, and I know it's going to be all the way through either next week or the week after, because I also found out that next week's not really the deadline. The week after is, and I had to force that to find that out. But I just go for the next 2 weeks, and then I go to the doctor, who wants me to start, you know, the ringing in my ears. Now my blood pressure's up. Wants me to start relaxing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, this is when I start thinking, oh man, do I need to move on to something else? And then I hear, you know, David talking about how, you know, you got to go after what you just got to figure it out.
Yeah.
So, Sai, you wanted to chime in?
Yeah, Mark, you know, I have my answer to that in my 25 years of experience in the US and around the world, and documenting, you know, pretty much the whole culture in the US and others. It's trauma. We're all children of trauma and survivors of war. And we don't have education on how to communicate and be in relationship at school. Even though that's something we do throughout our life. So it perpetuates all those issues. And we go back to the animal part of us rather than, you know, the higher vibration of our humanity. For me, being part of the solution, you know, this week is to actually address that, you know, with myself and find people that actually are interested to, you know, have an impact in the world, changing, starting with themselves. I'll put in the chat a free event if you're interested, that actually addresses that and allows people to be part of the solution if that's of interest. But it's not, it's not an easy change.
And it's just a lot of stress. And after this project's done, I've already told them that we're going to sit down and have a talk, because not only about this, but more money is going to start happening involved if he's going to put this kind of pressure on me.
Sure.
But I don't know. It's also starting to bite into my personal stuff. Like for people who don't know me, I have a movie review website called Underexposed Cinematic Treasures, and I like realizing, today comes, it's like, oh my God, I'm supposed to have something up by tomorrow, and it's been a little while, and this work's getting in my way. What do I do? Because in my mind, my priority right now is two things. It's my website, and it's a movie that I'm writing with Brian, which I guess is going to take an interesting turn tomorrow when I talk to him. But those are priority, but yet they're also the things that are kind of getting sidelined because you got to pay your bills.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find, because I've listened to Marc and Elaine tell us, well, you got to find that balance, right? And I'm trying to figure out how to do that. And
well, I can give you the answer.
I'm just getting lost, and it's stressful,
sure.
and it's depressing, and it's like,
I mean, here's
the other thing is how do you do this? Since you're always really busy, Marc, and it seems like you got a million things on your plate.
Yes.
I'll work for the day, and then I'll go to do work on my own thing, but I can't concentrate on it anymore because I'm exhausted from the day.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. One of the choices Elaine and I made long ago was to keep our base overhead low. That's why we're in a rent-controlled apartment. That's why we own 2 cars outright. And because of that, it takes a lot of the pressure off us. So that's how I'm able to do stuff like Space Command. But again, we all have to be very gentle with ourselves now, because we are in an extraordinary time. And anytime you feel frantic or depressed, just remember, and all of my friends who are on the right, please cover your ears right now, that Trump is not the president right now. Thank God. Mm-hmm. And so no matter how bad things get, we don't have that guy to deal with or watch on TV every day, all that stuff. So, but seriously, we have to be gentle with ourselves. We have to take a breath. We have to make sure that we're decompressing. Do not try to do your creative work when you are exhausted. And the end of the day is usually the worst time to do your creative work, because you have no fuel left. You have no gas left. Early in the morning is much better before you start your work day. But again, it's always finding the balance, because there are many times in our lives where we're just going to be out of balance. That's just the way things go. If you need to earn money, then, some guy who's working at a Foster Freeze, that's probably not his dream of heaven. I just saw this news item about this guy who's 91 and working at an Arby's, and he's the most valued employee. Well, Jesus, that guy probably didn't want to be working at Arby's when he's 91, and if he did, well, then he probably is aiming low. But, but the point is, the reason one prioritizes one's own creative work is not just with the hope of it someday bringing in a financial jackpot. The reason is because then it allows us to honor ourselves and our hearts, and it gives us the balance where we can then do the money for work, the work for money stuff, where we just don't feel that that's this thing that's going to squeeze the soul out of us. But definitely drawing a line and saying, okay, I'll do this, but I will not, be disrespected. I will not be treated like shit. I will not be, I won't dance to other people's neurosis. That's fair. So again, it's just finding these lines, but not making them so rigid that we can't adapt and flow with what life throws at us. So that's some of it,
Well, I do plan on it's interesting you say work in the morning. It's been tough for me to get up some mornings, but that was my goal for tomorrow. To try, if my recommendation for my website doesn't come out tomorrow, it'll come out on Saturday.
Great.
I plan on getting up early tomorrow to work on it, to try and get away from working on it after a whole bunch of people wear me down, and stuff like that. I don't know if other people feel this way, but I feel like I don't like the direction that the work is going in the sense of the way people work now. I'm used to somebody coming into my office and working with me, and it's a collaborative medium. I'm working with people. Now it's, here's the footage, do what you can, will send you email notes, and when you call them to discuss the notes, they're just like, well, just email me.
Yeah.
And now it's gone from this collaborative medium to just sitting in your office by yourself. And what I loved when I first started doing this kind of thing was, sitting in the script meetings with a whole bunch of people and discussing where the story's going to go, and and discussing the footage when you're editing and all that.
Well,
and I don't understand why people would want to do it any other way.
Well, things change, and you have to roll with that. I mean, it used to be that writing staffs would take lunch breaks and be able to have lunches with friends and business contacts. That then changed, where writers' staffs took lunch in and kept working, and so trying to have lunches to maintain relationships in the business became much more problematical. So you have to adapt, But the main thing is find the ways to do a little bit, each day, to keep yourself sane. But and always, and something that's really important for all of us, and then we'll move on, is it's very important to say to yourself, am I just complaining or am I seeking solution? Because it's very easy, and I'm not singling you out because I do this too. It's very easy to get into chronic complaining, and when that happens, it doesn't solve the problem, and it doesn't really even help. Worrying is not working. I mean, worrying is not working on something. Worrying is worrying. It's just kind of, grinding the metal. And so what I often do when I'm just like, in a complaint mode is I say, okay, what's an action I can take? What's something I can actually do? And it can be very small. For instance, I was having trouble getting to the writing of Greenlighting Yourself, the new book. And someone suggested just write for 30 minutes each day. And I'd never written a book that way. I always wrote in big chunks of time each day. And I thought, well, let me try it. And so I would write for 30 minutes or an hour each day. And over time, over a few months, I got the book written. And now it's coming out in April. So look for the solution that might be a little bit outside your ordinary way of doing things. That's what I would suggest.
I've been trying to do that for the last 3 weeks. Every Tuesday, leave me alone. Don't call me. I'm in the library working on my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. And even at the end of the day, even if I know I may have to come back and do work, whatever, I try to take a half hour or an hour when I eat dinner to kind of sit down and watch something. And I don't necessarily have enough time to watch a movie, so I rely back to the old Norman Lear comedies from the 70s because they always make me laugh.
Sure.
Like right now I'm making my way through the Jeffersons, and it's just hysterical.
Okay.
And that relaxes me. Also talking to people, and Dave Edison's been a godsend with the stuff with my ear, because when I start to kind of get a little crazy, I call him and he talks to me because we're both editors, we both understand things and such. So anyway, to get away from that, everybody kind of got the gist of it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you, and that's what I'm trying to do when I talk about it to people. It's kind of like, hey, give me some. We've all been through it. What did you do? Because I'm trying to figure out a way to work my way through it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the work-wise. Okay, so just really quickly, doing these Space Command Blu-ray things, but because I don't really have a deadline, those are and all I really have left is the Comic-Con stuff, which is almost done. I haven't been pressuring myself on that. I've kind of, let that kind of
and Marc, just to jump in for a second, just to let you know, we actually have a deadline of mid-March, just to let you know. So that will be the drop dead. Yeah.
Really, really good to know.
Yeah.
And then
more specific deadline than that, I'll call you, Marc.
Yeah.
Okay, call me.
Great.
Because I need to know this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer 3, which I don't know if you guys are watching or whatnot, on Saturday I'll be re-exporting it because Dave Edison noticed that the coming soon at the end of the trailer got lopped off somehow, so we'll re-export that. Other than that, websites under Exposed Cinematic Treasures, I'm doing my best to get as much up on that as I possibly can. And otherwise, you guys have heard me complain enough for the evening.
Okay. Great. Okay. Yay. 3 cheers. Excellent. Marc Gushwitz, ladies and gentlemen. So is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes, we have a question from Rodrigo.
Great.
He wants to know, what
Rodrigo.
do you do when you are inspired by other content like Star Wars or Star Trek?
Yes.
Do you prefer to incorporate those ideas in an original project, Or have you ever considered making a fan film?
The only fan film I did was the Star Trek episode with George Takei, and I brought that up to the level of a network show, and it took me 1.5 years to make that hour show. But I'm very proud of it. You can see it on Mr. Sci-Fi. It's World Enough in Time, and it's there. It's on the landing page. And but beyond that, I don't. If I know that I've come up with something that's too similar to something that someone else has done, I don't do it. Okay, I have to find what makes it fresh. I have to find what makes it distinctive. I'm not a big fan of the Star Wars universe anyway, so that's not going to be a problem. Star Trek, has hits and misses. I think lately it's more misses than hits, but Star Trek is a huge influence. But again, if you want to see my sort of take on Star Trek, Space Command is sort of my take on Star Trek. It's like, okay, it's not the same characters, it's not the same visual aesthetic, it's not the same, but it's certainly strongly influenced, and particularly in terms of compassion, in terms of the positive outlook that it presents. So, I use inspiration comes from many, many different places, and often a given story will be something from here and something from there and something from another place, and it can be something I read, something I saw, something someone said to me, or something that happened in my childhood, any number of things. It's it's just the finding that real slipstream of where it all comes together, and you're excited about doing it. Huh, Elaine?
Yeah.
So that's it. Yes. So let's see. So
And,
yeah.
Of course, I haven't had my turn yet. Just
Oh, sorry, Adam. Thank you for mentioning that, because obviously, if you go for it. Yes, please.
Okay. I'm always happy to be patient if other people.
No, don't ever be patient.
Early, but
No, see, the problem was that you've migrated on my screen. So originally you were at the top of the screen. Now you're the bottom of the screen. So so I just kind of go like little domino squares or Hollywood squares, But yes, please take your turn.
Yes. So hello, everyone. My name is Adam Sartain. I am an actor, a voice actor with over 78 voices, accents, and impressions. And I'm also associate producer on Space Command. So this week's been pretty busy. I got new headshots done.
Wow. Okay.
Great.
So that was good. I just got the proofs today. I sent them over to my agent because my agent requested new headshots. So I said, you'll have them by the end of the month. And sure enough, she's got them. So that's done. Tomorrow, I am shooting a music video, or I'm in a music video that is shooting. And I signed the NDA and everything. So I can't tell you what it's all about, but I'm very excited about it. And it pays pretty well for a music video, so I'm happy about that.
Great.
And then next week, I am going on vacation, so I will not be here next week. But the table Zoom, it'll be the same link, and I'll see if I can shoot out a reminder email next week. But it's the same link every week now, so. But yeah, I won't be here, but this platform will be here to use.
Great.
And then my podcast, I've decided I'm going to continue doing it, but not putting out a new episode every week, because that was just too stressful trying to find guests every single week and just crazy. But I do have a new guest that I'm going to be recording this Saturday. We had him on last week, Henry Laster, and we're going to talk about the golden age of Nickelodeon.
How fun!
Which he participated in from the beginning to the end. So
wow.
The golden age, anyway. So I'm excited about that, and so that I think is all about me.
Wow! Yay, Adam! 3 cheers. Good job.
The podcast, of course, is called Inside Animation.
Yes, yes. Yay. So, and is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
While I'm here, let's take a look. We've got a question from Bob Rich.
Yes, hi, Bob.
Who are some writers or directors in film and TV whose work you find to be good for the soul, where you can usually rely on their work to make you feel a little better.
That's interesting. I mean, it depends. I mean, some of the Coen brothers movies do that. Some of who did the French Dispatch? It's the
Oh, yes.
what's his name? There's no one who I always go to for that. I love some of Fellini's films. There's a bunch, but it's usually a specific film rather than a specific filmmaker. I mean, I like a lot of Ridley Scott's stuff, but again, I mean, we all saw Alien Covenant, or perhaps we didn't, but someone who was very, very, very hit and miss is Roland Emmerich, and we watch Independence Day every 4th of July, but but there are many of his movies I wouldn't want to ever see again. So it varies. So is there anyone you'd want to mention? No? Okay. So great. So now it's Ben and Emily. Go for it.
Oh, Elaine, I wish you speedy recovery.
Thank you.
Thanks.
His mom is have a hip replacement, so we should speedy recovery on that. You look great for someone who's had a shoulder replacement.
Great.
So I want to say, Bonnie's been blessed to know you, and I'm continuing working on the music. Will be continued. But David, how Benjamin gave me a kick in the rear about 2 years ago, and I really didn't get. I didn't feel a blow. I feel it now. What he said to me, Ben, you were blessed to do a lot of things at a young age with a lot of great musicians, and you haven't written it down for Emily to have. So what's going to happen when you're gone is already gone. So I'm taking that seriously now. So I missed him tonight. Because my mentor died, Lloyd Price. I was doing that damn first now, the youngest musician there, or a lot of giant. But they were my school, they were my teachers. And so about a month before he died, I promised him, didn't know he was sick. I said, I'm going to record personality over again. And so he said, okay, that would be great. And then a month later, he passed. So that's my thing now, but calling on to do some streams on personality. Some of you old timers may, because you got personality, I can't sing that song, Bunny. I'm gonna work with you. So thank you so much, everyone. I enjoyed tonight's meeting. It's been a shot in the arm, and I've told Dr. Dre I got his story. I was managing him for $7 grand. I worked big, and so how Benjamin gave me the right. I'm just not waking up to use it. So
great.
That's what I'm gonna be working on.
Great. Terrific. Well, so Ben, one thing for next time is David Bartlett or someone else on the team.
I hope they did.
Yeah, there's a bit of distortion. We can get the gist of what you're saying. So, but next week or next time. Okay. Well, great. Well, good to hear from you. Yay! 3 cheers. So, but certainly the point of not waiting, but doing acting now, because we never know when when a piano is going to drop on us.
My engineer. We had a bad night.
Great. Well, it's good to see you. So terrific. So, okay, great. There. Oh, okay. Bye. Great. Terrific. So, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question, Adam?
Yes. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
It does sound like your connection is very bad.
Yeah.
That's probably what's contributing to the bad audio.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do have a Mr. Sci-Fi question.
Yes. Go for it.
That is.
Oh. So. Okay. There we go. Got it. Okay. Good.
Yep.
Well. Okay. So wait. That's weird. So okay. Let's see.
Yeah, we can. You guys are muted, but we can hear you. That's weird. Oh,
yeah.
I guess it's catching up.
Yes, because it's buffering. Okay, good.
It's buffering.
So
okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Go for it.
So yes. Where is that coming from?
I don't know.
I guess it's just back buffering.
Yeah, I don't know, but go for it. Go, Adam.
Right.
You're saying. Yeah.
So we have another Scott Baker question.
Great.
Are there plentiful level 2 EV chargers near the Space Command studio, and are any of them free?
No, not as far as I know. I'd love to have a Tesla, but because we live in an apartment, it's a little bit problematical. So I also put down a deposit on a solar powered car, but those aren't quite here yet. So yeah. Okay, great.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's all still just back up.
Yeah, weird. Okay, great. So now I guess it's Elaine, right? Elaine, wonderful Elaine. So go for it.
Elaine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay.
So I had a little situation with my shoulder, which we took care of yesterday morning, and I owe people work, so I hope I bounce back really fast because I owe a lot of people work. So, but it was a lot of fun to have our weekend shoot just before we went in because we had a very good shoot, wonderful team, and now it's just playing catch up with multiple projects. So, that's it for me. Yeah.
Okay.
So for me.
Well, yay! But brave Elaine for going through the surgery, and it all worked out great. And soon you'll be able to lift cars and things. So it's very exciting. So it was
Without making a face.
Yep. So Adam, is there another Mr. Sci-Fi question?
Nope, we're all good.
Good. Well, then I guess it's just my turn. Well, we were working very hard to shoot before Elaine went under the knife because we didn't know how long the recuperation would be. So we shot on Sunday with aliens and spaceships and all sorts of stuff. It went great. We've got 20 pages that we've shot. So that's over 3 days. That's a good pace. And so the plan is to shoot the rest of season 1 of Space Command this year. The plan is to shoot the pilot for Sweet Haven this year and more if we can. We're going to be very, very busy over the next few months. I've been raising more money, and that's been going well. And, and then the new book comes out in April. So if you want to buy your copy of Greenlighting Yourself, it's probably available on Amazon for pre-order. And, things are just going great. I talked to Rockne O'Bannon, who's our co-creator on Sweet Haven, the show we're doing with him, with Marta Kristen and Bob Picardo and Gates McFadden and Veronica Cartwright and so forth. And it's, he's very, very excited about it. And, moving forward on everything. And, and also I'm helping Goran, who is Mira Furlan's widower, her husband, help get Mira's memoir published in America. And so I've been reaching out to some friends who are in the publishing business to see if they will consider the manuscript. It's been published in Serbia and in Croatia and Slovenia, and it's been a big hit there in those countries, and it deserves to be a big hit here as well. So, and that's sort of, I think, the major stuff. Our plan is to be shooting every other weekend on Space Command for the next year. So we will see if we can get up to that pace, but so far so good. And thanks to everyone. Thanks to everyone who's been helping Adam and Dave Edison and Bonnie and Mark Gushwitz and David Bartlett and, you know, all the ships at sea. And of course, Elaine and, you know, Angelique and on and on. I mean, it's just, you know, it's great to have such a wonderful, wonderful little family of friends. So anything else, Elaine? I think we've kind of come.
Joining us.
Yeah.
All
So
the good wishes.
yeah. So and you know, if you want to send Elaine a bundt cake or something, I'm sure she'd love that. And
cake, no.
but you know, but I'm very relieved that we're on this other side, on this side of the equation now. Yeah, exactly, because it's stressful. Definitely, it is stressful.
Yes, he was far more stressed than I was.
Yes, Elaine is the calm one, as all of you who work with us know. And you know, so we definitely are different people by and large. But that's it. So thanks, guys. It's great seeing everyone. We'll see you next time. So thank you. Bye. Bye. Take care, everyone. And my dear Mr. Sci-Fi friends, we'll see you next time too. Take care.